As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be.
Oh man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a.
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
BravBros.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to a special episode of BravBros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by Shooter Magooter and a very, very special guest, our very famous friend, Matt Rogers is joining us on the show. What's up, dude?
What up? I mean, listen, no matter how famous I get, I'm really just a BravBro at heart.
You are. You're an honorary BravBro. We knighted you last time you were here, and let's be honest, I can see ever since you were on the show, it's really launched you into like a different atmosphere. So we call it the BravBro effect.
You guys were the wind in my sails. I mean, I couldn't have done the other night without you. Honestly, it had been a while since I'd been on Watch What Happens Live. I think this was my 7th time on, and I know why they keep booking me, so I can come in and really speak the truth. But I don't know if Andy was even ready for my truth this time. I mean, I feel very strongly about Jersey, and being from Long Island, I'm not going to let this franchise flop, and I really feel I know what's best, so I had to say the truth.
Yeah, you always need the local talent to step up and really provide their feedback on what's going on, because it's a hot button issue. Let's be honest. Nobody knows what the hell to do. Everybody's just floundering around right now. Everybody's got opinions on it. It seems like the majority of people are just tired of whatever the hell this has turned into. So I think everybody's got an opinion right now, and we're just looking for answers. And if you can provide answers, that's all we need.
You know, I would say we're a nation divided, but I just don't believe that we are. I really feel like, and usually like whenever I go on the show and it's about Jersey, I will deal with shit on social media afterwards. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
oh yeah.
But this time I will say it feels extra pathetic because it's so obvious that Teresa and Jen are the issues here, and something has to happen with them because we have a working cast. Like, there's literally 6 women on this show that can do the show. And we even saw reunion-like moves happening in that room. We saw conflict and resolution. We were never going to see that in the other room because they've made the decision for themselves. They don't want to be on this show. So what are we talking about?
They've made it pretty clear. Like, that's the one thing that I got from whatever the fuck that was that we watched, the watch party. Was that on one side, you had a whole group that was, Fessler was pressing the issue with Danielle. Danielle was responding. They reached a point of resolution, as you said. Flip to the other side, in that other room, all they're doing is like name calling, body shaming, talking shit. Like, oh, you're so right, Teresa. She sucks. Like, it was nothing, no semblance of accountability or anything like that. So I think that's where it kind of highlights why this show.
Let's not throw words like accountability around.
I know, not big words like that. They might have to look up.
I don't know if that's a word that adheres to anybody on this show. Let's not throw that one around.
Well,
the one room, yeah, come on.
Come on. Oh, am I going to be battling against the people that want room 2 on the show? Because I say blow it the fuck up. Get rid of everybody.
Why would you do that?
Indoctrinated, because they're all indoctrinated in this dark, shitty version of Housewives. We saw it last year. We saw Danielle and Rachel come on. They knew exactly what this show was. They picked teams immediately. They're never going to get away from that. I'll ask you, do you think that Marge is going to continue to be the friend of the group? Or if Teresa and Jen are gone, do you think that Marge is going to start stirring up shit and pulling shit that she always does on other people in the group that she calls her friend now?
Can I say, I'm actually fine with that if she does, because at least she does it well and is entertaining to watch while she does it. Because say what you want about Margaret and being messy, as if that's not something all of them fucking are across all franchises, okay? At least Margaret whipped out 3 of the most iconic moments of the season. The text over the shoulder, the screenshot, which got, I'm a slob? Come on. That's Housewives to me. And then forget about the Jackie reveal at the end with what Marge brokered. The sending of the flowers to Teresa's house, like, this is for you and your dignity. Like, don't tell me that it's all dark bullshit when Marge is out there doing Housewives like a housewife should. She's acting like someone who sits next to Andy on that couch. That's what a housewife does. And I understand that, like, the ecosystem of Jersey is the ecosystem of Jersey, but let's not pretend that Marge isn't a good housewife. Let's just not even go there.
Marge
I'm gonna
is
play middle.
Marge is the Tamra of Jersey. That's where I'm putting her.
And so you want Tamara off OC?
No, I don't. No, I don't want Tamra off OC because I love to hate watch Tamra and I love to hate watch Marge.
Okay, so but here's the thing with Margaret. You can. Sorry, I got people calling. You can admit. You can admit. This is my friend. You can admit. Yeah, that was Andy.
It's my agent. Okay, Andy's calling. Sorry, guys.
I will say, like, it's funny that people in the comments, like when I leave, like sometimes on YouTube, they're like, "Ha, Andy wasn't into anything he was saying." That's not true. People think that like Bravo rides hard for Teresa. I think, and I don't know, but I think they're fucking fed up with Teresa. That's what I think. That's the energy I get from being there.
From what I've seen in, social media, which obviously take with a grain of salt, but there does seem to be more discussions about the Gorgas actually holding a better favor with Bravo right now because they're less problematic to put on screen. Obviously, when you look at the Louis part of everything, like they're clearly the less problematic of the two. But it's funny that you said that because in the past, when we would post things about Jersey, we would just wait for the onslaught of hate from the tree stumps and the Jen Aiden fans and all of that. We posted some things recently and we caught some flack, but not nearly to the level that we have in the past. So I think that you're starting to see people that are fans of the show that have been in here for 14 years that are like, this just doesn't work anymore. And if you look at the dynamics of the show, why it's not working, every single time there is like an attempt to be a funny moment or maybe like a funny dig or something like that, it gets taken so fucking seriously by Teresa and the rest of that crew. And then they start trying to raise hell and not in a fun way. Like Jen Aiden, I'm so fucking tired of her bullshit and then playing like she doesn't do anything wrong. It's so tired, man. And then like her one comeback, I was like, you're irrelevant. Your husband doesn't want to hang out with you. He sleeps in the pool house and smokes joints all the time. After doing surgery for 15
seventh grader. Hours. She has the mentality. I think that like, I wonder if she has friends outside of the people on the show and her daughters, because she acts like she's her daughter's age. And what's really wild is that we're not just calling out the fact that like, she so obviously wants to fuck Joe Gorga and Nate Cabral that it's like the constant references to their bodies, even if they're negative, like, oh, he's short or he has boobs. You're looking, you're interested in their stature. It's all insecurity and self-hatred with her because unfortunately she got played by her husband so bad and they buried it. And then it came out on the show and she so clearly cannot forgive him, nor should she. And when she has moments on the show where she's like, please don't be in the pool house this much. Please continue therapy with me. Please help with the kids. He's just like, no. And so if I feel bad for her at all, it's because her husband doesn't ride for her. And she looks at these other women whose husbands obviously ride for them. And she's fucking jealous. And she literally cannot stop herself. It's why she kind of can't really say why she hates Danielle. It's like why she kind of can't really say why she hates Melissa. She makes these stupid things up of like very elitist or like thinks she's better than people. She is jealous of them. And you'll notice that like, it's the first thing she says about other people. Oh, Danielle's jealous of me. She said she wants my house. Babe, she might want your house, but you want her life and you want her husband. So let's just like relax with the whole name calling, because if you think the audience doesn't see through it, you're deeply mistaken, because you need to leave your husband years ago and 100%. Then figure out a way to be happy with yourself and participate in a show where friendship and conflict resolution is supposed to be the desired result here. Because otherwise, unless you're good with yourself, you can't be good with other people. And she is not good with herself.
No, and I think she pushes it off onto like everything I see from Jen Aiden is projection, going after, like you said. She does covet what they have. Like, yeah, you've got this ridiculous fucking monstrosity of a house. And I think that was what was kind of confusing for me when Danielle read her at Rails and said, you have an empty, you have 15 bathrooms, your house is empty. I come home to a husband every day. People were giving Danielle shit that she lost that altercation. And yeah, I mean, when you take the lunge and push something and get physical, I guess technically you look worse. But at the same time, everything she was saying was 100% true. Like, I do believe that Jen Aiden thinks those things. I do think she's jealous of what she has. I do think that when she says Nate's waiting at home for me every night, she's like, fuck, I'm waiting at home for Bill. And when he gets home, he sneaks around the back behind the ring cam so I don't see him and sneaks into the pool house to smoke a joint. Like, my life sucks.
He definitely does. He definitely does. But I also do think that Danielle wishes that she was rich. They have a good point. Every time that she walks into a big house, she goes, whoa, this is exactly what I want. And she's pushing all of her bougie kids and this and that in every episode. And I get it. Like, there's not a lot of storylines going on right now because the people aren't talking. But I'm getting tired of her crazy family stories with no actual details. I'm getting tired of her pushing her businesses into the show. I know it's a staple of housewife shows. But still, I do think, she does definitely want to be rich. And she does want that. So I don't really think... I think it was sort of a stalemate going into it. And then Danielle pushing and shoving and jumping across the table, she lost it there. So I do think that Jen still won. As much as I don't really like Jennifer, I hate the way that she carries herself. And I don't like the way that she does things. I still think she won that altercation. This is what it's like to be down the middle, Matt. We have to be down the middle.
Yeah, I'm like looking in the face of like something I don't understand. My thing is like if Jen won that altercation by saying your husband has man boobs.
No, not that part. The only way that she won was because Danielle got physical. That's when you lose.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like, I guess if we're going to say that it's like, it's like that is how you lose a fight by getting physical, then sure. Like, Danielle took it too far, I guess. But I'm just saying, like, in a situation where she comes to that altercation, what ultimately became an altercation, but she came to the table literally saying, I'm going to try to express to you what I want to say to you without getting angry. And Jen goes, yeah, I mean, if you can do that. After everything, it's just, and trust me, I never believe that violence is the answer. But at a certain point, I'm just thinking, this is the show. Who is more fun to watch? I do like watching Danielle. I do like watching Rachel. Like, I guess it would be a shame to just toss them out. I guess, Shooter, is your issue that, like, yes, this is what they do on Housewives, the businesses, whatever, the desire for upward mobility, but you just feel like it's too thirsty on this group?
It's too thirsty on this group, but I also find Danielle terribly boring. I think her whole life is super, super boring, and it's just not up to snuff. And I feel like that's a big problem with Jersey. We're not getting enough from the main characters because they're just bickering amongst themselves and just constantly talking about each other. And then the new ones come in and it's like, okay, but like, I don't care about your small business for bougie kids. I don't care about, you're not going, like, Danielle has an easy access point that Steele and I talk about all the time. Mm-hmm. Something is going on with her family. Mm-hmm. We hear a little bit about it. We hear that her father's maybe not talking to her. Her brother has completely written her off. You can go deep into that and people will watch that because it seems like it's interesting enough. And yeah, maybe some people are going to paint you as the villain, but you're on Jersey. You're going to be painted as the villain no matter what because everybody's got teams in this thing. I just get worried, and this is what I'm worried about for the future of Jersey, if they go with, let's get rid of Jen, let's get rid of Teresa, and we'll see what we have with this other group in the other room. I think we're still going to need a pause because if they jump right back into this next season will still be about Teresa. And it'll be about how the Gorgas and Marge won. And they're going to be gloating the whole season. And it's not going to be fun to watch. I think we're at the very least going to need a pause to see if we can do a whole new show where we don't talk about Teresa because it's still going to be about her if we start it right back up.
Okay, a couple things. One, I think that this season was way shorter than they wanted it to be because they realized just how brutal it was between the dynamics. And when that house burned down in Ireland, I think we did not get a chance to see what was naturally progressing, which was Danielle reconciling with her father. So I do think it is a touch unfair to be like, she doesn't show her life when they had essentially a 12-episode season and she hit that midway mark, literally reaching out to her father, and it was starting. It's not her fault that the rest of the cast was at a complete stalemate when that storyline was in progress. That's the argument I'll make.
Didn't the garage burn down? Wasn't it not even the house?
It wasn't.
The house burnt down,
and it wasn't in Ireland. Yeah.
Wherever it was, you know what I'm saying? It's like wherever their vacation was.
Crazy if they went back to Ireland.
Was it the Berkshires?
Yeah, you two need to relax. All right, I'm trying to play the middleman here. This is getting heated right now. So from what I have seen, it was like the guest house or a side house to the main property that burned down to the ground. It did burn to the studs, but it wasn't the actual house itself, and it was in the Berkshires.
Okay, so the Berkshires, not Ireland. I take back that. I obviously get my trips messed up, but they were going to the Berkshires. Something burned down and made the cast trip untenable. They could not have this conversation. That season could not continue. They could not even do a reunion. So I guess that's my opinion, is just like the storylines that were in progress for everything other than Teresa versus Marge were not going to have a chance to actually unfold the way they would on a regular Housewives season, because I believe production was like, we have to end the show now. And that was why the Last Supper happened. So that's my opinion on that. In terms of the pause, I think you're going to get a pause. The cameras are not going up. This is my opinion. Cameras will not go up unless something goes down with Louis. That's what I think. If they get divorced, or he gets like indicted or something, or if there's another lawsuit that's like really intense, or if something happens with Louis, you'll see cameras go back up sooner than any time until the middle of next year.
I agree with that. Let me do this. So let's say it's a pause and a recast / reboot, but you don't get rid of everybody. All right, you can pick 3 housewives. You don't have to pick 3, but you can pick up to 3.
So this is if there's 3 that they still hang on to, this is the reboot. Yes. Even though all right.
Or do you think? Hold on, let me rephrase. All right, just give me your reboot. What it looks like, Matt. You go, and then Shooter, you burn it down.
Well, you know what he wants to do. He wants nobody.
Well, he needs to pick. But you have to pick one at least, Shooter. And Matt,
okay, so this is the way we'll meet in the middle. You want 0. I want 6 of them.
Okay.
Plus 2 new women.
So you guys got to pick 3.
So we got to pick 3. Okay.
Between the 2 of you.
Oh fuck.
We find a middle ground.
I think we can find a middle ground. Let's find.
We got a new Teresa Marge situation.
For me, my opinion on what I will do with this show, if they take Dolores off my screens, I probably won't be there.
Okay.
That's what I agree with. All right, so that was my one that I will definitely agree with.
Dolores.
Okay.
Yep.
Dolo's she's holding it down. All right. Who else? You want all 6?
I mean, my opinion is they have a great cast, and if they throw in 2 new interesting women, then you have 8 Jersey women that really know how to do the show. You don't have to start it from scratch. You don't have to have the new New York thing of like, you kind of have to wait for them to figure out how to do it. You have like 6 seasoned housewives. Throw a couple more in there, crazies.
What do you think about bringing the sort of like what they did with OC? What do you think about them bringing back people who used to be on the show? Somebody like a Danielle Staub.
I thought about that. There is not one single woman from the past of that show that I, A, would want to hear from again, or B, I think would do it. Like, who would it be?
I think it's the would do it for sure. Yeah, I Manzo's not going to do it.
We're going to take Siggy out of prison? Take her out of the January 6th insurrection? I mean, let's call the spade a spade. That's what her deal is.
Call it out. Yeah. Call it out.
Like who? Jacqueline Larita? Not if Teresa's there, which I can't stomach.
No, if Teresa's there, then yeah. I just don't know how the show looks, because no matter what, I mean, obviously, no matter what you do, everybody's going to be pissed off because of the way that it works. So I just don't know. Like, you have a whole new cast, everybody's going to get mad. You do half of the cast, the other half is going to get pissed off. So there's no way that the fans are ever going to let any decision here live. And I think that's the main problem that they have.
I guess this is my theory, though, is that whenever you watch What Happens Live and you look at those polls, Teresa loses in a landslide. Jen loses in a landslide. I think that we are dealing with an extremely vocal minority online, and I'm telling you, they'll just deal with it. All these bots and people online who come for me after Watch What Happens Live look insane. All the Instagram profiles are have 6 filters on them. They're all a little cat. Their Instagram handle is Teresa fan, Teresa stan, Jen Aiden Queen.
In the profile.
It's no real people. And if they are real people, you look at them for 2 seconds and you're like, oh, okay. But I just don't think that there is an ecosystem of people that could like topple Bravo or like shake the foundations if Teresa and Jen aren't there anymore. I just don't believe there was a popular vote, I do think that Melissa and Margaret would win it.
I was going to say something similar. I think that what we get from the Jersey fan base, especially on Twitter or the social media platforms, period, you hear from the crazy people more so than the vast majority, which is the middle of the road people that like Jersey. And we've gotten comments from people that are like, because I posted one where it's like, God forbid you talk about Teresa. And then sure enough, we baited the shit out of these people and they just bit like over and over again. Like,
sure.
You don't even fucking know what you're talking about, you piece of shit.
And
like,
they say crazy things. The amount of homophobia being levied my way, like by these crazy homophobic Teresa fans, because you also have to remember who these people are. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you are a kind of person, you breed that type of community. And if I was them, I would look at the people supporting me and being like, fuck, this is embarrassing.
This is my crew.
It's all the weirdos.
Yeah, it's a lot of people with my fucking picture as their profile picture, and their name is I Love Teresa 1234, and they say horrible, horrible hate speech across all platforms with no actual profile. And so I think that that's a really good point. I think that no matter who you give the boot to, you're going to get some fallback, right? I mean, it's impossible to avoid, especially with Jersey. But I think that that really loud minority, as you're talking about, those are the people that you're giving the boot to. The middle of the road Jersey fans are going to be ecstatic because they can have a voice on social media now again. Because if you look, that's the craziest part to me, is you'll have some like Midwest Mama 3 who just likes Bravo and, you know, likes to post cooking stuff. And that's it. It's not a big deal. And she's like, ooh, Teresa was kind of mean this episode. And 15 people are like, you don't even fucking know what you're talking about,
fuck
Catherine.
You,
fuck your cats.
Like,
fuck your house. Your husband looks stupid. Like, go fuck yourself. And you're like, whoa, dude, she just said that she doesn't like Teresa. She didn't even say anything bad. But that's the kind of toxicity that's gotten to this level from this show. And that's what's so difficult for me when we watch it and discuss it. It's like no other show on TV. It's like, how is this the fan base that you've garnered support from, as you said, for any of the people on that side of the street, whether it's Teresa, Louis, Jen, whomever you are? Look at your fans and what they're saying to people. You want to justify that, or you're happy about this is the fan base that you've cultured? There's these people? Instead of just like, oh, let's watch a show and discuss it. No, God forbid you disagree. I'm going to burn your entire life to the ground. I'm going to try to fuck you up as much as I can. That's insane. This is a reality TV show we're talking about right now. And that's the level it gets to. So I think that by giving the toxic crew a boot, you're going to get some fallback. You're going to get some lash outs for sure for a while. But I think if the show's able to continue on and do it well and get back to some fun shit, I enjoyed the scene when you had all the ladies at the pajama party. I liked that. I had a good time. And Teresa wasn't there. Jen played along because Teresa wasn't there. And we saw inklings this season of Jen Aiden maybe testing the waters with other people, maybe going away from Teresa. And then when push came to shove, she crawled right back in her fucking pocket.
Right. Well, yeah, you saw her on this episode at the very least.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's disgusting.
It's unbelievable.
But to kind of meet you both in the middle here, I agree that there is an argument to be made for just fucking blow it out of the water. Let's do RHONJ. Let's reboot this thing. But I do think that there is a way forward with the original cast. If you get rid of a toxic few, you're just going to have to deal with the shit from the crazies for a little while.
You can't be afraid of terrorists. You can't let them win. And that is how they behave online. They behave in a way which is literally the energy is watch your back at BravoCon. That's literally shit that I heard.
Like we've gotten shit like that.
It's giving like mafia intimidating. And that's not to like say anything about like their culture or whatever, but you can tell they feel emboldened to be like nasty and violent in a way that the fans of Melissa, Margaret, Rachel are not doing.
Well, if you look at the helm, look at that's how they talk to people on the show. So they get emboldened by that because Teresa, Louis, Jen, they're not afraid to say crazy shit like that on TV. So like, oh, we're going to match that energy. It's like, you're not getting paid. These people don't know your name. So no, you shouldn't.
Louis is the most disgusting person on television.
That's what we're about to transition into. So let's get into. I wanted to talk about that. I agree, and I think that the next thing I wanted to discuss was the fall of Jersey, if you will. This show coming to a point where there is a crossroads where it's like something needs to be done, and a lot of people point the finger at Louis. So I wanted to get your take on that situation, on how he's impacted the show, Teresa, everybody involved.
So this is where I'll get sociological. Okay. It is Louis, but it's also bigger than Louis. The problem with Jersey is, so Teresa is the star of that show. She doesn't know what it's like to be in a relationship with a man who respects her. She grew up in a patriarchal environment where what the man says goes, and she was told that one day she would get married and that would be what made her happy. She said the quiet part out loud this season. She wishes that Gia wouldn't move right in with her boyfriend. She wishes she would live alone. It's because Teresa never had the opportunity to really be on her own and get to know herself and get on her own 2 feet. So all she knows is how to latch on to someone who's going to take care of her, even if that person is disgusting. She is someone who, you can see it in like the type of things that she supports outside of the show. You can see it in the allegiance to her father, who seemed lovely but was also very old. I don't know what he was like when he was younger and being, a taskmaster. Joe Gorga, I do like him, but there's an energy there that he had to get from somewhere. And I do think that in terms of Joe Giudice, he scooped her right out of high school, right when he could, since they were really young. And then he put her in the Slammer and would call her a CUNT on television. And then when they finally did get divorced, she was still mentally in it, was single for 18 months, and then randomly meets this guy on the boardwalk, and it's Louis, who doesn't know her. And, never mind the fact that he tried to date Alexia the year prior from Miami. Like, never mind the fact that he was extremely ready and seemed really into being on television right away. Never mind the no prenup. Never mind the scenes from the trailer that hinted at them having money problems, which were for some reason cut.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It is a laundry list of not even red flags. I'm calling them crimson banners. Just like it is beyond red flags, but she doesn't know any better. She got love bombed. She's being narcissistically abused by this man. He has cut her off from her family. He will lose her job for her. Promise. And she is literally shaking like a leaf, losing weight in an anxious spiral, unable to understand who's really for her and against her because her husband has spun her out so much. And so you need to look no further than, yes, him, but the fact that this show is and always has been about how men dominate these women. And these women put these men on such pedestals, which is why they're the first thing that they go to knock them down at the ankles. Your husband this, your husband that, your husband this. It is always about me attacking the sanctity of your relationship with this man, and my husband's better than yours, and your husband this, and your husband that. It's because that's what these women put stock in. And a lot of them do have things outside of those relationships. Like, knock bougie kids all you want, but that's her business. You know what I mean? Like, knock envy if you want to. That's her business. Like, maybe she doesn't design the clothes, but it is her business. You know what I mean? These relationships that are outside of these things. People want to say Teresa's everyone's whole storyline. Show me an episode where Teresa wasn't exclusively talking about the other women with Louis in her scenes. Or with Gia, who essentially became one of her only friends. Because she's been cut off from everyone because of her husband's constant messing with her head. And don't even get me started about how fucked up it is that we just assume, oh, the ex is crazy. This woman's crazy. The niece is crazy. Oh, all these people that are approaching, they're all crazy. He never gets questioned by her. It's because he's fucking the shit out of her. It's because that's what narcissists do. They said it in the beginning. They fuck all the time. He is fucking her into submission. He is love bombing her, and he's won. He got her.
That's
I will say Teresa's at least still able to make new friends. I mean, her and Jackie are good friends now, right?
That's not a friendship.
Jesus
and
Christ.
You know it. And see? You know it.
Like that shit, man, all season with her.
She couldn't even keep her podcast partner. Now that's up in flames.
Yeah.
She cannot maintain relationships, I'm telling you, because her husband won't allow it.
100%. But the way that he does it, I mean, that's what frustrates me, especially when the show's discussed online or in other podcasts, whatever. When you really break it down, I get so confused. I'm like, what show are you watching? Because I just watched a scene where she didn't get a word in and just said, yeah, you're right, to every single thing that Louis said. And it's like, this is the woman that wants to praise, namaste, peace, love. I'm in this healing era. I love everyone. I can't have this toxicity in my life. This man just said that he wishes another woman's kid suffers. And I know that he was like, lots of people pointed out, he was talking about karma. Didn't you listen to the end of it? It's like, he said, I hope her son suffers, and then caught himself and was like mine did. He was 100% saying, I hope that kid suffers. I hope she suffers. Fuck everybody. Fuck them. And Teresa's like, yeah, you're right, Louis. And every time that anybody on the show has questioned their relationship, she always says, you're lying. You don't know what you're talking about. There's never a semblance of, let me at least hear somebody out about what this man's up to, what he's about. Somebody said in this recent one, I think it was, Jen Fuda at the finale, was like, do you think that your husband may not be forthcoming with all of the information? And instead of even taking a beat, and it doesn't even sit in her head when she leaves. She doesn't even think about it after the fact. It goes in one ear and out the other. And it's 100% because she's been so love bombed. And you watch the scenes when he's on TV, man, it is so obvious that he knows the cameras are on. He's running around before the party, checking in with the caterers, this and that. I'm a private chef. I have a lot of these events. And when I'm standing there, the host 99.99% of the time comes up and says, hey, you good? You need anything? No? All right, cool. See you later. And then they're out. I do my job. They check in at the end of the night. It's not this buddy. Let me get that for you. Can I help you here? You guys are doing such a fantastic, wonderful job. Have you seen my daughter? I love my daughter. I told them to wear thongs to express themselves because that's normal behavior for me. If you need anything at all, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to cook tonight. You guys take the night off because I'm such a fucking helper. All he does is paint this picture of the modicum of society. I am the most loving husband, loving father, love everybody else. All this backlash I'm getting is completely random. From, by the way, so many outside parties are saying this dude's a lunatic. And still, there is no budging from Teresa. And it's almost to the point where, I really don't like her. I don't like watching the scenes with her. But at the same time, and we've called out to like the audience of this show, if you are actually a Teresa fan, are you not concerned? Are you not worried about her overall well-being?
Yeah.
Because she doesn't look
That's what I don't get. Is it's like, how could you watch the show and think, yeah, she's in the place she should be? And can I say, I don't hate Teresa. I don't hate any of these women. I'm rooting for all of them. But with her, there's no character development. There's nothing. It's just, she's stuck. And I feel bad for her because I think she thinks because she's married, and I think she thinks she's with someone who's like successful and can handle his shit, and she believes it so much that she doesn't understand that he could fuck with her. Like, she doesn't get it. She doesn't see it. Despite the fact that she's literally been in this situation before and went to jail.
That's what you were saying earlier.
And she doesn't get it, and neither do their fans. That's what Steele's saying too. We put up a video where the beginning of it is, yes, Louis fucking insane. And then the middle of it is, if you actually care for Teresa, if you're going to go to bat for her, if you're going to have your profile picture as Teresa and you're just a fan of Teresa, then how do you not see that? How do you not see all of her, even her closest friend on the show, which would be Dolores? How do you not see Dolores say, I'm really fucking worried about Teresa. She's losing weight. She looks nervous. She told me before her podcast thing that she was going to go throw up somewhere. She might faint somewhere, and make sure you call an ambulance for me. Those are not normal things. Why is that not raising any alarms in anybody's minds? And then looking and saying, well, this guy sucks. That's like how blind their loyalty is that Teresa is not saying it explicitly. My husband is a bit of a problem. She's not arguing with him on camera, which again, the trailer showed that they argued about a couple of things and we didn't see any of that.
Finances.
So why
That's
was
a
that
big
scrubbed?
fucking deal.
Why is that scrubbed? Because that would change people's perspectives. No, of course not. We're not going
100%.
to do that because what's the point? This is a lost season anyway. Let's just throw it out the window and we'll just be done with it. So I want to see what their reaction is to things like that because as soon as they get divorced, which is coming, there's no way that they're going to stay together forever. They're going to get divorced in the next year and a half, 2 years, even if it's just for a storyline because she's losing it. There we go. That'll work too. When she gets divorced, those same people are going to go after Louis and say, why did nobody see that he was the problem? And we're all going to be sitting here like, we're watching this new version of Jersey. I'm not really worried about what's going on in Teresa's life. Happy that she got rid of him, but she's not on screen anymore, so I don't care. That's where we're going to be in a couple of years, but we're not even going to do the I told you so because it's just useless. It falls on deaf ears because these people are lunatics.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that there is a misconception that blind support is real friendship. And I think that that Teresa has a very good friend in Dolores in many ways because at least Dolores is vocalizing it, even if she's not vocalizing it to her, or I don't know what they're doing in private, but that was another reason why I was disappointed there wasn't a real reunion or anything, because I want to know what Teresa's reaction was to Dolores saying that. You know what I mean? Like, what's the reaction to, what's the response from Teresa about how obviously she's deteriorating and that people notice it? Like,
she
we
would
never
100%
got that.
say it's the stress from Melissa, it's the stress from the other women on the show. It has nothing to do with Louis. Louis has been nothing but supportive.
It's from Marge,
she's gonna play that. Yeah, it's gonna Marge, exactly. Marge is the reason. Marge is the reason. And it gets to the point where it's not almost delusional. It is delusional. You watch the interactions, especially in this weird, bizarre episode that we haven't even really discussed because there's not really anything to talk about.
There's nothing to discuss, yeah.
No, but if you look at the reaction of Teresa watching all of these things back, there's moments where, like when Fessler goes to the other room, or Fessler's no longer tight with them because Fessler she has watched the season. She's like, I saw a bunch of things I didn't like. I'm going to sit in Melissa's room and Marge's room because I don't want to be there. I didn't realize what was going on. The first thing that Teresa says is, oh, Marge got in her ear. It's like, there's not everything is this like weird plot to get you, believe it or not. Some things are just black and white. You see it on TV and it's like, oh, these people kind of suck. I don't really want to be associated with them. And Fessler, look, she had a weird year. It was a strange season for her. She was trying to figure it out. She was trying to find her niche within this group. It didn't land very well for me, at least. But the one thing you can get from her and expect from her is she doesn't put up with shit, really. She's like, I'm not fucking with this. I'm out. She left the last episode because she wasn't putting up with that. She at least has a pretty decent moral compass from what it seems like. So for her to be like, yeah, I saw some shit I wasn't into, I'm fucking out of there. That to me should be a red flag for that group. Instead of saying, oh, Marge is in her ear. Marge got to her. She's plotting again. It's like, no, I don't believe
she's
that.
Clearly making her own decision based on the energy. And I do think that happened after the Danielle moment.
Okay.
But it's also very telling that happened. And still, Jen went to that room. Jen would rather be in a room with someone whose physical action made her leave a situation than the people who she'd watched all season meddle, scheme, and, try and make this thing happen with Margaret. I don't know. I just trust Jen Fessler's judgment as a person.
Yes.
And so her going back to Margaret, I'm like, she does seem like a normal person. She almost seems like she's a great friend of. You know what I mean? She's like, she's the perfect friend of. Yeah. She's the perfect friend of. And so basically her being like someone I trust as like a bellwether of these things, and then going over to Margaret's room and Melissa's room and being with Fuda and Danielle, I'm like, okay, yes, this clears for me as like, this is the room of the level-headed people that in a situation where you have to choose to be either in one room or the other, this is the one you're picking. Not that I needed more proof, but in a situation where it's like, fuck this, I'm a level-headed person that does not hang out in situations like this, that person picked one half of the cast. You know what I'm saying?
But if you watch their reactions, again, we talked about it a little bit, how they're responding to this episode to me at least, shows you who is able to continue forward, who is not holding on to stupid shit. Like the one room, as you said earlier, did function somewhat as a reunion, where it's like, oh, do you still stand by that, Fessler? And I actually really liked Fessler this episode just because she was like, all right, would you do it the same way? Like, I bet you regret this. And got it out of Danielle. She had to work through it a little bit. She's like, no. And the best part was people saying, this was the most disgusting thing ever said on this show, that Danielle wished that she'd killed her. Obviously, she's speaking in hyperbole. She doesn't actually want to kill and murder her. That is not the same thing as like wishing something bad on a husband or calling a guy and saying he has man boobs when he has body image issues or kids suffering. She said, I wish I'd killed her. Nobody with a brain actually believes that Danielle wanted to jump across the table and murder her. Probably throw another punch maybe, but not kill her. So the people that reacted that way, I had to laugh at it. It was like a whole post and I was like, this is the single most disgusting thing ever said on Bravo. It's like, okay, settle down. But if you watch them work through all of those things and Danielle is able to come to her senses and say, yeah, obviously more so because I don't like the way I look that she got under my skin that much. I need to be better about containing my emotions and not let people get under my skin. Great. Resolve, resolution. Let's move forward. We can leave this in the past because the biggest thing for us when we watch these shows is issues that continue to pop up when there's no weight to them. It's so fucking boring and tired. And that's what this show has turned into for seasons now. The same shit over and over again. And it's exhausting.
The most boring one, the most boring example of that, though, and this is another reason why I do believe Teresa has to go, is that it always comes down to you came on my show, the Melissa thing. The fact that that is something that she will never get over, to me, means everything. Because let's face it, even this stuff with Marge is not really about Marge. It's about Melissa. It's about her brother. It's about that. Because I do think there's something similar with Teresa to what I said about Jen earlier and the envy of the other relationships. Because I think Teresa really loves her brother. I think that they deep down were tight. I think they wouldn't have gone their whole lives saying family, family, family if that wasn't real. And then he got married. And I think that if it wasn't about not liking Melissa, it was about resenting how happy they were. Because she wasn't. And she was constantly talked down to by her husband, and he was disgusting, and he was a criminal. And she's a criminal because of him. And that is a wound that I don't think heals. There is a jealousy there and an envy there that I think Teresa couldn't allow Melissa to have this too. You know what I mean? It's like, you are married to my brother who I love. He's obsessed with you more than me. And you're now also going to be on my show that has skyrocketed me to fame. And now I finally have something of my own, which is the notoriety and fame of this show. Because she never had that before. And now she'd have to share it with Melissa. And her brother a little bit. And I think that she clearly can never get over that. And so therefore they never stood a chance. And therefore Melissa was always going to be burdened by Teresa on this show. She cannot do anything right. Even if she is doing something right or genuinely trying with Teresa or leaving events when Teresa gave ultimatums or saying that's my sister-in-law, I have to have her back, which she always did until it became too much. It was never going to be enough because Teresa hates her.
Yeah.
And so that is where we're at. So my thing is, in terms of the reboot, the whole cast thing, why not just see what Melissa gives on a season of this show where there's no Teresa and she doesn't have to be burdened by that? Like, if she sucks after a year and she still gives nothing, as like a lot of people say, or you don't believe her, or you think she has quote unquote fake storylines, fire her then. But she's so clearly like protagonist energy of this show. Whenever anyone new comes on this show, they go to Melissa. They always go shopping. Melissa's very easy to talk to. Joe Gorga is number 2 on the call sheet of this show. He has the most dynamic relationships of anyone. He's essentially the star. And like, this is the way it is. And so if Teresa can't play nice and can't do the show, and all she's offering for entertainment on the show is the live podcast episode where she reads from her diary.
Don't get me started. Yeah, okay.
I think it's enough. It's enough.
Then I think we're good. Let's give it a chance.
Just say that the new people coming to the group, you can see where they decided to sit. We have people who they were at each other's necks for a lot of the season. They're still going to the other room. They're still sitting with Marge. They're still sitting with Melissa. So if you're going to go after them and say that they're deplorable people and that they have no storylines and that they're whatever, at the very least, the other people on the show can stand to be around them. We've seen how many people go and try and look. Rachel Fuda never once tried to go be friends with Teresa, which, you know, I think that Steele and I have talked about her having an agenda going into it anyway. But Danielle did. Fessler did. Those are people that they seem pretty normal. They're typically people that you might come across in actual real life. They decided to go sit in the room with Melissa because they tried to be friends with Teresa, and all they do is talk about Marge. All they do is talk about using Jackie to go after Marge and how the other women wish that they were them. Like, it can't be fun to be around them. And there were moments this season where it's like, all right, they're both doing the same thing. All they're doing is talking about how much they love their family. All they're doing is talking about how terrible the other women in the other group are. But at some point, and we saw it with the sleepover episode, that part of the group can completely cut loose and just have a good time. Yeah, they're still going to talk about Teresa because she's there and she's on the show, but they're pointing out Teresa's not here and we're having a good time. I mean, they're trying to do
regular
something.
Fun. And also they have regular fun. What?
Did Matt just talk Shooter into bringing that cast back? Because I think
no.
I
still think
that's what I just heard.
Blow everything up. I can't stand any of them anymore. I need them.
You seemed fairly agreeable there for a second.
I think we need to see, that's just for the conversation. I think we need to see what Bravo's going to do. Bravo's going to see how RHONJ season 2 is, because the first season didn't get a whole lot of love because everybody loves the old cast. Even though they stopped watching them, they still love the old cast. Fuck this new cast. We got to see how season 2 goes for them. Put Jersey on pause. If season 2 is a roaring success with New York, they might start turning their brain a little bit. Let's get rid of everybody and start it over.
Because here's the reason why. New York City is completely different from New Jersey. You're not just gonna, like, starting from the ground up in New Jersey is gonna be hard. It's a bigger ask of the audience to be like, let's go to New Jersey and start at the ground floor.
Yeah,
they'd have to have a long time.
What about a new city? What about a new city and they just drop Jersey altogether?
What city?
Don't say it.
He's
been pushing for Cleveland.
I've been pushing for Cleveland or Philly.
Hold on. Real Housewives of Philly would be great.
Real Housewives of Philly would be great, but Andy said no Midwest. Andy fully came out and said no Midwest, so you're not getting
Where's
Cleveland.
Philly? Oh, fuck.
No. He said Cleveland.
You were saying Philly was in the Midwest.
He said Philly would be a good one. Philly would be a good one.
I think Philly would be fun. I heard a rumor about Real Housewives of Rhode Island, which apparently is very Italian. I don't know if I need that.
Could be fun.
I just think we have a cast already. That we like. It's not. It's going to be way more trouble than it's worth. Like, I don't know. I think give 1 year of a chance.
Here's the thing:
the cast that we have with 2 new women.
I just want another show that's like a little campy, like Salt Lake is, where it's like, oh, you're not going to see these people. Like Jersey people, I think we're too familiar with Jersey people at this point, where we're like, oh yeah, you can find some fucking scumbags in Jersey and throw them on a show, and it'll be kind of entertaining for a little while until you realize that there's no depth. Throw me into a different city that I've never, like, yeah, Rhode Island would be interesting, maybe, depends on the cast. Something like Salt Lake City would be perfect because we don't get to go across people like that all the time. And they, at the very least, they have fights and then they make up. We don't see that anymore on Jersey.
So you're not saying reboot Jersey, you're saying cancel Jersey.
I've gotten to the point where I'm saying cancel the whole show, yeah. Yeah, that's where I've gotten.
I've
straight even because it gets amazing ratings. You're not going to do that.
He'll accused me of sympathizing at this point, so I needed to go even further away. Cancel the whole show.
Now you're just that's how you operate. No,
that's not in their best interest.
2 years ago and last season, we had discussed multiple times that let's give Melissa and the Gorgas a chance to be the helm of this show. Let's see what they got, similar to what you're saying. And if it doesn't work, scrap it, start from scratch. I agree with that, where you can, and maybe don't center it around Melissa and Joe. You can or can't, whatever. But having that core that we have already, that 6-person core, and seeing what you have, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because you're going to get ratings. People are going to watch that just to see how it goes. Even if people don't like that cast, they're going to watch it and be like, does this work or not? So I think there is something there. However, what I'm afraid of happening, because at the end of the day, Jersey is one of the cornerstones of the Housewives world. You can't deny that. Teresa is one of the cornerstones of Housewives. But if you get rid of it entirely, or if you bring Melissa to helm the show and it does not work out, and now they scrap it for a year or 2 years, or they scrap it altogether, now you lose Jersey. I agree with you. Starting from the ground up in Jersey would be difficult because it is a different area. New York City, you can pick, there's probably a dime a dozen to get on the show. Correct. I agree with that. So that makes a lot of sense. I'm just afraid that if you give the reins over to this new cast and it does not do well, then you will lose Jersey entirely. And I don't want to lose Jersey entirely. I want them to be able to figure this show out, because it was so great for so long and gave us a lot of iconic moments and iconic housewives. So I think that there is a middle ground. See how it goes for a season and then recoup. But I also don't think that a pause is the way to do that. Then if they're going to run this cast back, I don't think you need to wait that long. I think you need to get the cameras up sooner than later. Make sure they understand, hey, this is not going to be about how you guys are still here and Teresa and Louis are not. You need to come up with some new shit and give us something to watch and sink our teeth into. I love, by the way, both of you do this. You like your faces when you don't agree with something, Matt and Shooter, you're just like, I'm just saying my piece. Yeah, you get fidgety.
No, I know. I just think I do agree with Shooter on this point, which is that if they pick cameras up soon, there's just not that much to talk about outside of the fact that this happened. That being said, though, they all had storylines in process that could have continued if it, like, for example, if you cut Teresa from the season, almost every single cast member gives you something. Melissa sends Antonio off to college. Marge is grieving Jan and having a really difficult time with it that we never even really got to dive into because she was so distracted by the Teresa stuff constantly coming for her neck. Rachel is now pregnant. Danielle has the stuff with her father. This may not all have been able to pop off in the way that we have wanted it to, but I also think it's because Teresa is a burden on the show. Her being the center of the show means you have to go see the fucking podcast. It means you have to listen to Louis' bullshit. Like, there is enough here for the show to give it one try without them. One. With no Teresa, Jen, and Jackie. And then, and I swear, it's so much easier to find 2 women in Jersey who pop off than 6.
That's fair. Shooter, your rebuttal, and then we'll get to some questions.
I mean, I would say that the 2 that they chose from Jersey to pop off, Danielle and Rachel, are not popping off.
I think you're in the minority.
So I think it's a little harder. I think it's a little harder to find women that'll pop off in Jersey. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's true.
You don't think Danielle popped off in Jersey throwing shit at the table?
And a glass upside, or sorry, a plastic cup upside there that many people argued in our comments. It was a glass. And I was like, it was a plastic cup. And then people went with the argument, what if it was a glass? I'm like, what if it was a knife? That's a ridiculous statement to make. That doesn't.
What if it was a gun? Who knows?
Yeah.
I like Fuda too. Like you do not like Fuda?
I think that Fuda made her entire storyline Teresa centric this year.
Again, okay.
Well, I mean, Teresa was saying her husband was a drug dealer.
Yeah, so but if Teresa's
like, was she gonna do it all over and die?
But
yeah, but like, come on, that was a bad.
Fuda was like,
argument.
I just hate when Fuda at the end of the season is like, just first off, she did the Will Smith, keep my husband's name out of your mouth. That's not fun. Nobody cares about that line anymore. And yes, you're talking about people talking about your husband, but all you do is talk about other people's husbands. So no, you can't have it the same way. I just think that Rachel went in knowing how the game works because she's watched a lot of Bravo. We've found out that she had an entire Instagram or Twitter handle about loving Bravo. She knew what was going on. I just think she was a bit of a flop, and Danielle's just boring. That's where I am. But anyway, I will say, I look, obviously we're going to watch if they get rid of Teresa Jen, just cast them aside, see what everybody else has. But I still think that they need a pause because Steele, you can say Bravo can come in and say whatever they want about don't make your storylines about how you guys are the ones who won. They're going to do it. They can do whatever they want.
That will be edited out of the show, though. Bravo is not going to be like, oh, the storyline is them talking about how Teresa's not there. They're not going to do that. That would never happen.
If Jermaine's there, they will. But
fucking Jermaine. What's his real name? Jeremiah. What's his real name?
Jeremiah. Oh, Jeremiah. Is that the producer of Vanderpump?
Yeah.
Oh, we called him. We forgot his name. We called him out. Like, this guy's dog shit, and they're moving him to the Valley, which is horrible because the Valley's great. He's going to ruin the Valley.
He sucks. I don't like him at all.
He's fucking terrible.
And he's also like way too involved with the cast in like a personal way. Like the personal vendetta that he had against Ariana at the end, I was like,
yeah,
this is
how
so
dare you consider
ridiculous.
Not coming back to my show?
Yeah, what the fuck? That was
like
so
she
weird.
is your show, dude. Like she is your show. Like
100%.
The refusal of everyone involved in Vanderpump Rules to accept Ariana as the star of that show is like mind blowing to me. Like when that woman sat in that finale not last season, but the season before, and she sat and she gave it to Tom Sandoval. That's why you got nominated for an Emmy, right there.
By the way, you can't deny her star power either. What she's gone on to do from this is incredible. And anybody that says otherwise is just a fucking hater. And we watched it all season, people crying about it. It's like, dude, you are not on a Broadway show. And then they continue that Broadway show with you as the star. If you're not a fucking star, you're not the Love Island.
She could also be the season. Yeah, she could single-handedly be pointed at for bringing Bravo fans over to Love Island. Love Island,
which was
USA,
the most successful show
and it was
in
a huge
years.
hit. Like, yes, the cast was incredible, but a lot of people aren't going to watch it if it wasn't for Ariana. So 100%.
I also think it's you know what it comes from. It comes from like this insistence that she was so boring from seasons like 3 to 9, and then all of a sudden popped off. It's like sometimes people play supporting roles and then they got the opportunity to play a leading role and they fucking knock it out of the park. Yep. And she did. And I think it chaps Sheena and Lala's asses that they were never number one on this call sheet.
Yep. Well, Lala's got her new show, Mama Still Got It or whatever, so she's doing fine.
What's that on? Some subset of Amazon?
Freeform. I don't fucking know. I'm not watching
it. I just think, wow, I the dropping of the ball over at Vanderpump was fucking crazy. Because now Ariana's definitely not coming back.
No, but that leaves the door open for my theory, which is they bring Rachel back if Ariana's not there. And I'll watch that.
No, I think
Rachel wants to keep
Lisa's
her
about to
mental
close
health.
it up. I hope she doesn't. I think Lisa's fully going in on Vanderpump Villa with Stassi now, and that's going to be
fine.
That's
I love
her
that
new
show.
baby.
Did you watch the show?
No, I didn't see Vanderpump Villa.
Dude, it's so good in the worst ways. It's so cheesy and dumb and just easy to watch, and the cast is insane. The dude.
Do you think Stassi's going to be good? Do you think she's still?
I think she's going to be great. I think she's going to be great.
She's going to be like supporting cast with Lisa there, and she's just going to help out and have a couple of one-on-ones with people probably and bop around. But
yeah, I think bringing her back in this capacity and not to Vanderpump or some other reality show where it's like, all right, you're here to be the number 2 to LVP. Is genius.
Well, she's going to have she has her own show. She's going to have her own show on Hulu too.
Is that what it is? All right. Well, this launches into that. But yeah, I think that makes the most sense to me on how to bring her back into this world without overstepping or forcing her on or trying to get Stassi to save Vanderpump because there's no way this season's going to be good. They need to scrap VPR. What they could do, and you might concur if you do watch Vanderpump Villa, you could definitely take some of that crew and put them in a new restaurant. Like LVP's got that one in Tahoe now, like Wolf or whatever it is. And put them there and just do a new VPR with a new younger cast and kind of revamp it. That would potentially work, especially if you meet. So like they literally have 2 people on the show that are Jax and Stassi back in season 1, where it's just this ridiculous toxic relationship where this dude was a bartender / like manager, and this chick, like he cheated on her, but she still loves him. And
Why
like
don't you just tell him the whole show? Why don't you just keep going?
I'm trying to lobby for him to watch it. It's
no,
good.
I will watch it, honestly. Oh God, my list is so long. I was supposed to get into Summer House too. But I only watched the finale. No, but I am wearing this Loverboy shirt. I think the merch is so cute. I know, I am a poser.
They got great merch. They sent us some hats that are really sick. Mine has a coffee stain on it now, though, which is a bummer. But
there's always more.
Yeah, exactly. But let's get to some questions. We have about 1 million of them, so let me pick some good ones here.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
this is a good one. I like this right out of the gate from J. Antonio Garrido. Do y'all think Gia will be a housewife one day? She recently said so on a podcast. Thoughts and feelings?
I hope not.
Probably. I don't know.
Like her at all.
When? Like 15 years?
Fucking no. I'm not. This is not.
She's doing the new show, like the Kids of the House.
Oh yeah. What do you think about that? The Taking Manhattan or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely give it a shot. I mean, we'll see. I find that it would be hard to think of any of the kids that they cast like as the center of a show, because I don't think that any of them are like super interesting people. Yeah. And that's not to knock any of them. It's just you have to kind of have that extra thing to be like at the center of a reality show. And I think that they're definitely all the children of people that have that. But that doesn't mean it's not inherent. Show. It's also like I don't know, like they're literally not friends. Like they're all the children of people who are also not friends.
But maybe they'll have some weird come together moment where it's like all of our childhoods have been really fucked up, guys. We've been on TV since we were teens. Let's talk about this. Or children. Maybe they'll have some weird trauma bond over that, and it'll be a good show.
Maybe.
I'll be watching it.
I don't know if that would be a good show, but yeah.
I'll at least watch the
trauma bond. I don't really want to watch a trauma bond. It's not entertaining to me.
Fair enough.
They should call it Trauma Bond.
Trauma Bond.
There you go.
The Kids of Reality Stars. That's a good documentary.
Oh yeah, big time.
Hulu, you paying attention? Let's see. Shooter, you got any good ones over there?
I'm looking. A lot of people love Matt, so that's
a lot of people like you.
Oh, I love them back. Those are not the Tree fans, I'm telling you that.
No, there's one Tree fan. He's horrible.
Yeah. Work. Sure. It's always like this crazy shit they say. It's like, oh, it's Melissa's lackey. I've met Melissa twice. The first time I ever met her was on Watch What Happens Live, and the second time, what was it? Did I meet her a second time? I don't even think. Oh, at BravBroCon in Vegas.
We got so many comments that say we get paid by the Gorgas, and we have yet to see any of that money. So we're pretty upset about that.
It's so weird that everyone is bought. That's another Trumpy thing. It's like everyone's a paid bot. Like everyone's like a paid. It's like George Soros is not involved in this. It's fucking Andy Cohen. Give me a break.
All right, let's see. It's a lot of stuff we've covered already.
Maybe we fucking crushed it.
I think we did fucking crush it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, who would you have from the cast? Do you think? Yeah,
people need to get more creative with the questions.
We had a lot of really good questions yesterday for OC.
Yeah, we did. Let's do this one from Molly13S. Will Teresa and Melissa pretend to reconcile once the show ends for attention?
No.
Yeah, assuming that they're both off of TV.
Yeah, what if they're both off?
I think at that point, then they don't even have to reconcile. They don't even have to act like they're reconciling. No. So no. Yeah.
I think they were living pretty separate lives even doing the show, and I think they couldn't even pretend for the show, so they wouldn't pretend off the show.
Let me build on that. Go ahead.
I kind of want to see if we get a picture of Joe Gorga, Louis, and Joe Giudice down in the Bahamas. That would be great. I need that picture.
Well, do you think that there is a reconciliation in the future for Teresa and Joe? At some point, those two come together.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like just for
when they're both off TV for a long time, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, like I think that all fans, regardless of what side of the street you're on, I think we all can agree, like that would be nice. Like those two can at least have some form of a relationship.
I think it depends how long Louis is in Teresa's life.
Yeah, I was gonna say once Tree divorces Louis or whatever happens there.
I think he is ruining her life, and I think he may completely destroy her life if she doesn't wake up.
Oh, this is interesting. From Koopy Poopy, how scared did Dolo seem having to stand up against Louis in that scene where she's like, "That's wrong"? Did she seem a little apprehensive?
I think what was the most telling about Dolores and Louis was when she shut down talking about how Frankie Jr. worked for him last year at the reunion.
Yeah.
I think that was the most telling. It was like, she doesn't want any part of it. Like, that's fine if Teresa is happy, and I think sometimes maybe like Paulie and Louis hang out, which to me is like another red flag about Paulie. I don't like Paulie. I don't like the way
we got mixed reactions this season.
Weird vibes.
I don't like
them last year.
Talks to her at all. I don't like the way that he won't acknowledge that it's weird that he isn't moving on a life with her. I think it's bizarre that he said to her, "You think I'm just going to propose to you right away?" I just don't like the way he talks to her. I think Dolores is someone that I can recognize. I can see this in myself, so I see it in her. I think she has a really hard time letting go. And I think that she is better than that. I think she should be with someone that deserves her. He doesn't deserve her.
I agree with that. I love Dolo. I want her to be happy forever.
Dolo.
Yeah, she's Dolo. Just seems genuine, man. Like, I've been trying to get an invite to that softball game for 3 years. It's yet to work out. I don't.
Oh man, that feels like a no-brainer.
Maybe when Teresa's gone, we'll actually get invited.
Oh, that's a good point. I'm going to keep lobbying for it. I got 2 more, and then we'll wrap it up.
Stands, just buy a ticket.
And then just hop the fence and be like, and just wear my own jersey.
Yeah, we want to play.
I got this.
It's me, Steele.
Yeah.
You should play.
I coached on that field. I was a coach for the Orioles. We played against that team a lot, the Brooklyn Cyclones. So I know that stadium very well.
Oh, incredible.
All right. From AZ Roxy 63, I'm curious your take on this. Why is Bravo so afraid of Teresa?
They're not.
You don't think they are at all?
No. I think that there is a misconception about them being afraid of her. I think that she has been a really important part of this. They're not afraid of anyone. I think maybe they were a little afraid of Bethany, but
she burned her own bridge.
They all will. You know what I'm saying? It's like this idea that they can't do a show without any of these OGs. Like, Atlanta did have a couple successful seasons without Nene. Certainly Beverly Hills existed without Lisa Vanderpump. I'm sure Potomac will be fine without Robin. Like,
be better
Jersey
off
putting Robin in the same sentence as the others.
It's disrespectful.
Honestly, New York was also fine without Bethany.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Until it's this idea that like you need the OGs. OC is fine without Vicky.
Well, they brought Tamara back to fill that void, and then they brought Vicky back too.
Do you think it was to fill that void, or do you think it was just because like? Well, Tamara wasn't. Tamara and Heather Dubrow feel like OGs, but they're not. You know what I mean? It's like not the same exact thing. It's like I'm talking about these situations that heavily revolve around one person's participation, or else there's a fear that the show is going to go down. I just don't think that's a thing.
I don't think it is either, and we're newer to the Bravo world. Like we're seasoned now, but obviously we got into this a little bit later in the game. That's always been my take, where it's like people get so stuck on the OGs, and the best example is RHONJ, because when they rebooted that, so many people were up in arms. What about Dorinda? What about Ramona? It's like, bro, you stopped watching the show when they were on it. Everyone was complaining about the show nonstop. They wouldn't reboot a successful show. That doesn't make any fucking sense. If the ratings are there, if the cast is getting along, if they're doing good things, they're not going to touch it because it's making money for them. So that doesn't make any sense. It's this weird, again, you can take it to a different level and compare it to Teresa, where it's just these people stand for these people that they do not know. They don't know your name. They don't know who you are, but they will ride or die to the end of the earth for them just because they were on the show originally. It's like, that's my girl. I love her on the show. Yeah, but don't you want the show to be successful and fun to watch, not just this toxic sludge through every week where it's like exhausting? So I agree 100%. I think that that's this weird sticking point with Bravo shows across the board where it's like, don't disrespect the OGs. It's like, well, if the OGs continue to do their job, we have no issue. They fall flat at a certain point. I mean, you see it across the board. They get to a certain point where it's like, all right, I think you were on Brooke Ashley today. We had Brooke Ashley on, and she was like, you need to have a term limit for these housewives, like 6 to 8 years, and get them off the show because they repeat the same behavior. You get to a certain point, it's no longer fresh, fun, or new. There's nothing wrong with having a new cast come in. There's nothing wrong with it.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That is the case time and time and time and time again. It's just, you have to know when to leave the party. And Teresa needs to leave the party.
Teresa needs to leave the party. And that leads us to our last question. It's more of a statement, but from Badger Reader, Bravo needs to listen to Matt. He named the perfect cast and truth about the 3 vile members.
You hear that, Shooter? Probably listen to me.
I love this feud.
This is not a feud. This is conflict and resolution. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I think next season we're going to be closer.
This is the reunion that Jersey didn't have. We're able to sit here and we're able to talk about our feelings.
Yeah. It's cathartic, boys. It's cathartic. Just a few bros talking some Bravo. Nothing better.
I love it. I love the energy.
But as always, if you guys are a fan of Matt's, and if you're not, what the hell's the matter with you? But he's got 2 guys, 5 Rings podcast, which sounds oddly familiar to a video that we used to watch when we were in high school.
I can't believe they let us call it that. It's like the official Olympics podcast. Knew? They definitely didn't know, or else they wouldn't have allowed it. Right? 2 guys, 5 rings. I'm like, I literally shot off an email. They were like, what should we call it? I was like, 2 guys, 5 rings. They'll never say yes. They said yes.
Dude, when I saw that, I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, no. Which was my intention.
I would love again for like the Midwest mom who's like, oh, I love this new podcast. It's called 2 Guys, 5 Rings. Have you heard it? And for her husband to be like, oh.
Excuse me? Yeah.
Oh, God, what's it called? But you can catch him there also on Las Culturistas. And I'm sure you're running it back, or I hope you're running it back. Have you heard of Christmas when the holiday season starts to boot back up? But do you have anything else you need to plug? Again.
I'm coming to Philly, so I better see you guys there.
Stop, really? Where?
Yeah. I think I'm there well, I haven't announced my dates yet, but it's like first, second week of December. I'm not sure exactly when, but I will be there, and I want you guys to come.
Where are you playing?
Bring the ladies. I forget. AKA shouldn't say yet, but I'll tell you. Right. I'll text you.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't really remember, but yeah, doing that again. And I have a really fun show coming out at the end of the year on Netflix. It's going to be really fun. It's with Lisa Kudrow, Ray Romano, Luke Wilson, Linda Cardellini, Dennis Leary. Nice. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's the same creator as the show Dead to Me. Her name is Liz Feldman. She's amazing.
Oh yeah. Love that.
Yeah,
it's going to be great. Awesome. It's very similar vibe. Like campy comedy murder mystery in the suburbs. Yeah, it's fun.
I love that. I love Lisa Kudrow. A friend of mine, Bane Gibby, was on The Comeback with Lisa Kudrow.
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah. I know of Bane. I mean, I'm a huge Comeback fan. She was the writer, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's
yeah.
He goes to the same like mountain community in the summer that I've always gone to. So I've known Bane forever. But she actually sent us a video of UCB was doing a practice at Schwartz and Sandy's during the Scandival thing, and she sent me a video of the UCB tag on the door, and I posted it online. Like, this is what they're doing at Schwartz and Sandy's, and it had like 600,000 downloads.
I live right down the street. I in fact, I was going to Schwartz and Sandy's a bunch like before it happened. I was like so happy to be there, and then it all went down, and I was like, well, we can never return. And
it took a weird turn.
I don't think many people did.
No, it doesn't seem like it. But thank you so much.
And you couldn't get into something about her. You could not get in.
Oh, have you tried it yet?
Oh yeah.
No, I haven't been able to get down there because like they're only open from 10 to 4, and I work during the day, so it's like, but I got to get down there. It was just impossible to get in there.
That's fair.
But I gotta go.
Let us know. Let us know how it is.
I will.
We will be at the show. Don't you worry. I'll wear a Santa Claus romper, to really celebrate the occasion.
I'm into it.
Butt flap?
Yeah. What's up?
Of course, the butt flap.
You need the butt flap. That's just practical. What am I going to run to the bathroom and completely disrobe? No.
Women do it in their rompers.
Yeah, they do. Speaking of, that's what my home improvement project was. I need to call this out on the podcast before, not anything to do with that, just because we're expecting a baby girl in October. And my wife wanted to do, thank you, stick-on wallpaper, which I swear I would never do again. But I forgot about the PTSD I had from redoing my bathroom and stick-on wallpaper. So this is a PSA to anybody that has to do stick-on wallpaper. Don't do it. Spend the money and have somebody
or reach out and tell you how.
Yeah, and definitely don't do it together. I did it by myself because I've been telling you, it is whoever invented it is an asshole because that shit is horrible. All right, that's when you texted me if we could do this a half hour earlier. I was like, I can't because I'm dealing with this fucking wallpaper and I'm gonna lose my mind. But this has been very good for me. I feel much better now. So
happy to help bring you down.
I appreciate it. But as always, thank you for coming out, man. This has been a blast, and we'll definitely have you back on to discuss something in the future. But good luck with everything. And you guys got anything else?
Nope.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, well, BravBros are out of here.